If you want insane deals on legit PC keys from great developers, use my Fanatical link down below and start saving yourself some money. What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the channel. Y'all know who it is. It's Big Fry coming back to talk about World War III. I've had a lot of questions about what I think about the game after, the server issues have been, pretty much resolved, and where I think the game is at. Do I think the game is worthwhile? I want to talk about it, but first, the reason why I'm making this video, because I've been addressing this stuff in my streams all the time, is because I saw a video today from my boy Mocha Color Gamer. Mocha, if you guys know who he is, he's a World War III / FPS / multiplayer guy, and he's been covering a lot of stuff like Ready or Not, World War III. He's a good dude. His video that he dropped today was a 10-minute World War III rant in which he touched on a lot of topics. It's very sporadic. It's a very unorganized discussion on everything that he has issues with World War III. And there's a lot of stuff in the video that I enjoyed, I agreed with. There's stuff I disagreed with. And I want to talk about that and kind of build upon his discussion topic that he has created. Because we are a tight-knit community of World War III players, all 10 of us. And I just want to talk. I just want to talk just open and honestly about what I think about his video and some of the stuff that he said, as well as the game itself. So the first 2 minutes of Mocha's video is kind of what triggered me to do this. And his video starts off discussing the notion of early access and its impact on the gaming industry as a whole, and how it's pretty much been detrimental to just how gamers react to games nowadays. There's so many people that come up with so many different excuses for bad games, bad developer decisions, flopped games, just everything. And we always hear the grand old, it's just early access, it's just a small indie developer, it's just a budget issue. I've heard this so many times throughout my illustrious YouTube career that it's numb to me now. Anybody who says that to me is usually just... You're just making excuses for a bad product. And the games that I cover in early access are usually very, very fucking terrible. You guys know that. The games are... If you took a development team to come in and do it and build it up, it would take 5-6 years to do what these guys want to do. Seeing as they have no budget, no team, no talent, it's always just complete garbage. They're charging so much money for it. You guys know the basic rundown of the early access games that I cover on my channel. For the most part, I don't think World War III is that. As much as people like to paint the narrative that guys like Mocha and me hate the fucking product, I don't think that World War III is a terrible early access game. If I were to call it an early access FPS, I would rank this as probably one of the better early access titles, and I actually think I said that in one of my other videos. And his main point on that topic was the fact that he has to spend what he quotes as a full price $28 experience, and have to wait 12 to 15 months for all the bullshit, and just to see if we could even have a full-fledged experience. And there's some things that I think are flawed with that notion of... We all know what early access is. We know that we're getting a game that is currently built with a foundation, maybe a little bit more, usually a lot less, and it's actually going to take 12 to 15 months to build it. That's like the core definition of early access. And I think if you take World War III at its core, that is the shining example of what early access should be. Is a game with a foundation, a decent marketing, has a decent sized community going in and actually developing the product further. Now, granted, they had a fucking shit launch. They had one of the worst early access launches I think I've ever seen in my life. But at the end of the day, the product that they do have, now that they got the server issues mostly fixed, is an okay foundation to build upon. And I really think that that's where Mocha and I differ on opinion. But I think that the notion of spending money to wait 12 to 15 months on a product, I understand where he's coming from because there's been so much shit thrown on early access. But for me, I come from the opposite way, where I think we should start to credit developers who actually do it right and are hopefully going to continue doing it right? There's a lot of speculation right now. The game is up in the air. Where is it going? What are they working on now? I know they got a patch coming out next week that's dropping the time from 45 minutes a game to 40, and the points are dropping from 5,000 to 4,000. One of my biggest complaints about the game is how long the actual rounds last. 45 minutes is fucking ridiculous. I don't care what you say. The game is a lot of running around, sitting on a point, and not really seeing anybody, because the player base, while it has a decent size to it, it's not a large scale game where you're always playing in full rooms. That was my largest complaint, was the round time was way too long, and there's no reason for it. When you're talking about games like Squad and you're traversing huge landscapes with vehicles and taking points and actually capturing points in order, when you're talking about like that rush style capture point A that leads to point B that leads to point C, there's actual objectives, and there's actual, almost like a multiplayer narrative driving your movement and your positioning on those maps. This game is very sporadic. The points are spread out, and you just sit and capture them. Almost like a Call of Duty style domination on a larger map, like a Battlefield-esque level. And when you have that kind of sporadicness combined with a long game, it just creates unorganized chaos. And I think that's what greatly describes World War III, is just unorganized, chaotic, running around. Not the teamwork, tactical, team-based, slower gameplay that they showed off at the beginning when they were talking about, grab your team, you're representing whatever faction, you go in, and it's not really, like, it's objective-based, but it doesn't feel like you're doing anything besides running in between points. That was my biggest complaint. That being said, the actual core game itself, the fact that they have so much customization option, all the factions, the character customization, the fact that they have 4 maps right now coming into early access, with the size of those maps, I think they're doing an okay job at providing us a video game. And where I agreed with Mocha in his video was the idea of not really knowing what's going to happen in the future. And that's why in my last video, I discussed the idea of coming up with a Trello or a roadmap to kind of give the community some sort of idea of where the game is going to go in these 12 to 15 months. When I look at World War III right now, I find the game very stiff and lifeless. And my hope is that they were going to develop and add the animations and just make the game feel more alive, and instead of just the dead state that I find running around in these levels in. I also find that I can't see, looking towards the next 12 to 15 months, what the vision is for the game. We voiced our opinions on how long the games are. They lowered them by 5 minutes. They lowered the points by 1,000 out of 5, and that might change the pacing a little bit. But what I'm trying to find out is what this game is going to offer once it actually launches out of early access at whatever price tag they deem reasonable. What is World War III going to be? Everyone alluded and assumed that it was going to be the indie Battlefield. And while I can see a lot of traces of Battlefield inspiration sprinkled about this game, what I see is a game going in a different direction, but yet I can't see what that direction is, because it's not Battlefield. When we see where Battlefield has gone ever since the likes of a Battlefield, even Battlefield 3. Battlefield 3 moving forward with the bad companies, Battlefield 4, even Hardline, Battlefield 1, now Battlefield 5, you can see the game has gone, even if you were to call it not even a slow or a fast pace, but just that Battlefield pace with a game mode that might take 15 minutes to complete, 15 to 20 minutes. It feels arcadey, but at the same time, the older games like Battlefield 3 and even Battlefield 4 in a sense, it just felt a little bit more tactical. There was definitely some semblance of teamwork involved. Now, I come from the days of Battlefield 2, and even with Battlefield 2, looking at how that game played and what it was at the time, this game doesn't fall in the Battlefield 2 category, which I felt was a lot more slower, a lot more team-based, and a lot more tactical when you were playing it on the PC. This game doesn't fall in the same category as a Battlefield 3. Battlefield 3 Even though it was slow, it still felt arcadey with the pacing of the matches, the objectives and the game modes that you had, the time, the length of time for the rounds. This game doesn't fall in that. This game doesn't even really fall in a Battlefield 5 where they've taken the gameplay down, lowered your ammo, made it a lot more tactical, a lot more team-based with the fortifications. It doesn't fall there either. And I'm trying to find out where World War III falls. Now, roll with me here. If I were to pick a game on Steam right now that I see World War III kind of falling into, I actually find that it falls into the realm of a squad combined with the level design of a Battlefield 2 or a Battlefield 3. I think that's fair. But that being said, you can't really combine those and have an experience that is really worthwhile, in my opinion. I know there's people out here that are playing this game that are enjoying it, and that's awesome. Don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to shit on the game. I'm just trying to find out what this game is going to be when it comes out. And I think that's kind of what Mocha was trying to allude to. A lot of people are giving him shit right now because he was just, he was going off. And I'll be honest with you, I get his frustration. I started this summer. Here's the story that him and I have been sharing between one another and even on my streams. When you're a YouTuber and you're moving into the fall season where all these games are coming out, you always want to try and find your rotation. The rotation of games that you are going to be playing and maining on so that everyone can get a gist of what your content is, what games you enjoy, and what you're going to be playing leading into next year, into, E3 season when we start to hear all the new information. We try to find games at this point that can take us through to the promised land. And my rotation was Dead Matter, Ready or Not, World War III, and Insurgency Sandstorm. Ready or Not's not out. Insurgency Sandstorm had a very terrible launch, even though I still have faith in the developers. They delayed the game until December. I hope that game comes through. World War III came out, and it's not the game that I thought it was going to be. And I don't find that the gameplay right now is rewarding enough for me to even warrant playing it. I don't find it enjoyable at all right now. And then we have Dead Matter, which we're still kind of up in the air about. We don't know when it's coming out. We see devlogs and that's it. And I think Mocha was kind of on the same wavelength as me, and he was banking on World War III being something that it turned out it wasn't. And that's really tough as a YouTuber, and I understand where his frustration is with these developers coming out and releasing a game in the state that they did, and then once we get through all the server issues, we find out that the gameplay, not the core game I think is a solid foundation and it's a solid start for early access, but I find that the gameplay decisions, the round length, the map design, just everything about the game feels off. In a major way, it feels off. And I think him and I feel the same about that. And that's another point that he brought up in his video. The game just feels lifeless, and the design around the gameplay, I think we both find that the game has no identity, and we're trying to find the vision. And I think that's another frustrating point from him that he didn't really touch on in the video, but I just based on conversations I've had, we're trying to find what this game is going to be. And another issue piling on top of all this that I just want to get out of the way is people will come to my stream and they'll ask me if, Big Fry, do you find the game is worthwhile? Do you think it's worth my $28? And I get these questions about almost every fucking game that comes out. And while I appreciate your guys' question, I appreciate that you guys find enough value in my opinion to make a purchase decision. That's fucking amazing to me, first of all. It's always not so black and white. And I think that's one thing that we have to start distinguishing. I don't think Mocha hates World War III. I think Mocha just hates a lot of decisions made by the Farm 51 in terms of making this game not like what we think it should be. And it's not like we're sitting here trying to speak for the community, right? These are my opinions. You guys come to my channel to hear me talk about shit. I don't care about speaking for the community. I'm not out here saying, we the community feel it should be like this. It's my opinion. It's Mocha's opinion. And I respect his opinion greatly. Especially when it comes to FPS and multiplayer. That's where this dude was grown up in. I just think that not everything is black and white. It's not is the game worth it or is the game not? I think that we could have a larger conversation about worth and value when it comes to the games that we play and the games that we purchase. World War III, in my opinion, right now, isn't worth the $28 because I don't find enjoyment in playing with the game within the gameplay parameters that they have developed and designed right now. But if you can look at that and be like, I'm okay waiting, and I'm okay waiting and hoping that these developers pull it off, go for it. Me, I hate telling people to risk their money. When it comes to Kickstarters, when it comes to early access titles, that's why I'm so harsh, because it is entering the unknown with your wallet open. We opened our wallets, and we open our wallets time and time again, and so many developers before the Farm 51 have let us down. And now we're seeing the same kind of patterns with games that we had a lot of hope for and we thought had a lot of potential, and we like airing them out, and people give a shit for it. And for me, I've been doing this for years. I'm okay with it at this point. When I was coming up, grinding, and didn't have a fan base to watch and agree with or like or whatever, when I didn't have that, you feel like you're alone against a wave of people who hate your opinion. That's tough. So I get where his frustration leads when he brings up the community and the fanboys and stuff like that. One thing I'll say to Mocha, because I know you're going to watch this, don't go into a video with the idea of your opinion is being made to make people angry. That was one of the quotes in your video that kind of I didn't enjoy that. I know when I record a video of an opinion that there are going to be people that fucking hate me for it. That's not why I'm making the video. I'm making the video because that's how I feel, and I understand the community around it, and I understand that sometimes your opinion gets under people's skin. Don't go in trying to make people mad. Go in expecting that there will be people that are mad. And I hope you understand the difference. So for everybody asking, is the game worth the $28? In my opinion, as of right now, I don't think it is. Will it be in the future? That depends. They've given us no evidence of where they're moving forward. I always said, even when we were dealing with the server issues, we need to wait and see what happens in the first 30 to 60 days. And then we can get a grasp on how often they're going to be doing patches. What are these patches going to pertain, and where is their focus? And when I see the patch notes for this first patch of them dropping the round time from 45 minutes to 40 minutes, I'm still not convinced, and I'm going to discuss that. My name is Big Fry. This has been a long-ass video. If you guys made it all the way to the end, I appreciate it. For a long video like this, use the keyword Mocha down in the comments below. Hashtag that and let me know that you guys made it to the end of the video. That lets me know who's a ride or die out here. For those who don't know, YouTube has granted me the option of having a join membership button on my channel. Very similar to what happens on Twitch. When I go live, you can subscribe there and support me. Now you can do that on YouTube. So if you guys enjoy the content enough to where you want to support me and try to find a way to do it, the button is literally right below this video. And if you do, leave a comment and let me know that you did it and you support the channel. You not even if you agree with everything, but just that you support the effort that's going into these videos. This is literally 18 minutes of pure, unscripted discussion from the heart when it comes to a game that I am passionate about in an industry and a genre that I'm passionate about. This is a sneak peek at what my podcast is going to be like at 100,000 subscribers. Yes, I'm going in with that. We're going to try and find a great schedule for that. And that's just another piece of content that you guys are going to get once I hit 100,000. I'm going for it this year, so if you guys haven't subscribed to the channel, make sure you do so. Thank you guys for watching. My name is Big Fry, and I'll see you on the next one.